Tom Cassella has been a music educator for special needs children for the past 10 years. He has developed his own curriculum to help teach music harmony using color and geometry. This launched him into an 8-year stint of research in which he believes he has discovered the true musical nature of the universe and the secrets of sound healing. Tom has been presenting his theories over the last year to many different churches and venues and is doing his best to spread the message of love, healing, and unity through his presentation and musical compositions. So without further ado, please welcome Tom Cassella.
Thank you very, very much for having me. And thank you, Heather and Eric for inviting me into this beautiful, beautiful place in church. I have a lot to talk about today. And right off the bat, some people here have been to some of my presentations before. And I guess the first thing I want to talk about is that the presentation has changed. I need there's some people coming in. Good. Come on in. Just started. Yeah. All good. So for over a year now, I've been doing a presentation, and what I called was God as a Musician. And I changed that because this presentation really isn't about God or anything of the sort. It's about the universe and how things are created and the essence of it. And I thought that was a good name, but it was kind of missing the point. And I changed it to the nature of sound healing because this is the nature of the world and the universe. And this very first slide I put up here, there's the mountains and then there's a tree line and the reflection in the water of the tree line. And then seamlessly it goes straight into a sound wave. Frequency is everywhere. The nature is frequency and it's music. Everything is vibration. And when I first saw this picture, I didn't even see it. My eyes just kind of put it together like it was just a natural thing. And I thought that was a really cool slide to start with. And on the left, also, I had changed up the order of my presentation. I was doing a lot of building up to try to get to the point where I was talking about my discoveries. Now, right off the bat, I want to just go straight to what I think my most significant discovery is, and this is this equation. This is a three-dimensional equation that equals 0. And this is what I believe is the key to understanding everything that is in the universe, everything that we understand, everything that we experience in life is based upon this 7-number equation that equals 0. Now right off the bat I want to show you, we have 7 and negative 7, cancels the 0. 4 and negative 4, cancels the 0. Negative 3 and 3, cancels itself out to 0. Now what I'm going to do and show you with this pattern is pretty amazing, it's really awesome, and it's really cool, and I really wanted to just right off the bat show you this, instead of it being on like the 40th slide, and then maybe you're not understanding the significance of how important this is to understanding of what my whole concept of the nature of sound healing and of the universe. And just want to show you, to tell you what are my main 2 focuses here. My first focus is to connect everything in the universe to a single vibrational pattern that governs the creation of all life, the physical and non-physical. And the second part of the presentation is a guided sound healing meditation to calm your body and mind in deep states of relaxation. And I pulled this quote up because this is one of the most influential people in my life to really search for the truth. And this is Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest inventors of all time in my opinion. And we wouldn't have this electricity right now because he created alternating current, among many, many other things. He wanted to create free energy for the world, and he had all these theories to do it. And the government burned down his facility 2 times. And then when he passed away, they confiscated all of the information. And supposedly now they're starting to let go of some of this information. But his idea was he wanted to have energy like you would tune into a radio station. You would turn to a certain frequency and boom, you had wireless energy, wireless electricity. And I want to connect that musical equation that were numbers. You don't understand yet how that is music, but I wanted that to get inside your head first, and I'm going to lead up to it. And I'm going to, along with Nikola Tesla, many other great minds and scientists throughout history, their theories, and I'm trying to connect it all into one thing from that one equation. those 7 numbers. Now, I want to briefly talk about sound healing. Okay, we know that sound healing is real and that it works. Not a question if it works, it does work. And what I'm trying to come across is why it works. What is the mystifying factors behind how vibrational healing helps our vibrational bodies? And right here, National Institute of Health and other studies show that sound healing can help men, the body, and mind. Clinical studies showing this. Over a 50% reduction of pain and symptoms. It slows the heart rate, reduces oxygen consumption, decreases blood pressure, slows respiration rate, clears the mind from anxiety, creates a feeling of calm and peacefulness, relaxes muscles, and changes brain frequencies, slowing them down to beta, to alpha, and then to theta or delta. So, I chose this picture to put in here by Lynn and Gledhill. That's a water droplet vibrating with neon lights underneath it. And I thought that was a really great segue into the idea of the concept of water. Okay, our world, our Earth, in this very small part of the universe, our Earth, is 70% water. And we're 70% water. The Earth has a heartbeat called the Schumann resonance going from pole to pole. And we have an electric pulse inside of us that is fluctuating and creating our heartbeat. Now, the amazing things about water, there's some of the things that I had no idea about water. And when I first heard these things, I absolutely dismissed them. And that's just the human mind, the way that we've been conditioned through social media and TV to think about things like, no way that could be true. That's not, there's no way. And when I first heard this, I didn't know it. And then when I finally started studying this, it really changed the way that I looked at myself, the way I looked at the world, and the way I looked at healing what was possible. Dr. Masaru Emoto was a hydrologist, and he studied the effects of how things affected water. And so what he started doing was he would take water and put them into bottles, and then he would subject it to either thought, emotion, photographs, music. And what he did was, once he subjected it to this, whatever it is, this non-physical, he would freeze the water. And then when the water was frozen, he would get a microscope. And with the microscope, he would look at the water crystals that formed. And then he took pictures of the water crystals. And here are a few examples of what he found. This is what a Mozart symphony water crystal would look like and form into. Imagined by John Lennon. The emotion of love. Now, he would just take the bottle and put the word love on it and think love and have that emotion go into it. This is the emotion of peace. Thank you. This is, I hate you, I want to kill you. If you look at this, it actually kind of looks like a guy holding a bow or something. Okay, the water did this. Now this last two over here, I blew up to be bigger because I want to accentuate the point that this is water from the Fujiwara Dam in Japan. It's polluted water, it's not clean to drink. He took the water, he froze it, he took a picture, and this is what happened. Then, a Buddhist monk did a serenity prayer over the water. They didn't run it through any kind of filter, they didn't add bleach to it, they didn't do anything to the water other than a Buddhist monk praying over it. Look at the beautiful geometry and symmetry that it created. Now, how does this happen? You know, modern science is not going to tell you how this happened. But if you look at these three great minds, Edison, Einstein, and Tesla, they all said and they all agreed that the human brain is a transmitter and receiver of frequency. That at all times, your brain is shooting out frequency out into the universe and is affecting and is influencing all other things. And at the same time, other people's brains and their frequencies are coming towards you, and it is influencing you at the same time. So, when these thoughts and emotions are going into the water is so receptive, and the memory of the water is creating the water crystals, which is truly phenomenal. Now, it's not just water that is this mystifying thing. Water is matter, but there's everything else. There's the other 30% of your body that is not water. And I go to Max Planck here, who basically is the father of quantum physics, the study of atoms. Okay, and this is what he had to say about atoms. As a man who devoted his whole life to the most clear-headed science, to the study of matter, I can tell you as a result of my research about atoms this much. There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. Now, again, going back to that equation, and I think that it is the tangible form of what we're talking about, of how this conscious mind did bring all of this into creation. Now, and this is where it gets into different sticky parts of what you believe. I truly believe in Mother Nature. I believe in the universe. I believe in the energy. I believe in the collective conscious mind. And that's why I do feel comfortable coming back and instead of saying just like God is a musician composing the universe, because this is where I think that taking my conviction and saying it, whereas I want people to look at this and come up with their own conclusions. We may come to the same conclusion, you may have something different, and you may shed light on me of where I might see something in another way. But to be able to keep that open mind about what it is. And the other thing too is there is no true theory of reality. There's 5 different theories of reality, and none of them are proven true. And that's why a lot of times there's different kinds of religions all over the world. And the idea is that everyone has a different experience and a different idea and a different conclusion. And if we all can just get together and love each other, is really what the main point is. So we're looking at the big level and the minor levels, small levels of the universe. Now, in the center here is a birth and death of a star. Okay? I don't know if I'm in the way of anybody. So this is the birth and death of a star. This is the division of cells. When a cell starts multiplying, it starts as a single cell and it goes into 2, 4, 8, and so on. It's multiplying, dividing. And to get to the billions of cells in your body, it only has to divide something like 52 times to get to the billions of cells in your body. Now, there's a geometry. You can see the similarities between these two at the micro level and the macro level. Over here is the geometry. This is where we start getting into sacred geometry and the way and the construction of how it's put together. And you can kind of see how this works and the similarities between the two. This is the flower of life. The flower of life is a pattern that tessellates infinitely in all directions. And it's called the flower of life because it looks like a 6-petaled flower. This is a very, very unique pattern, and it's one of a kind because it predates all culture and all religions all over the world. And it is found all over the world, and it's all known by the same name, the flower of life. It's found in Italy, Turkey, in China, in Scotland, in Ireland, in every region of the world. Nobody knows where it comes from. Nobody knows where its origins are, but it's found everywhere. It's all known by the same name. The oldest place that it's found is in Egypt. This is the Temple of Osiris. It's not one of those, it's not a pyramid, it's a flat temple. And this is dated to be at least 10,000 years old. It could be 100,000 years old, or more than that. But this is just what scientists are telling us now. Inside the Temple of Osiris, engraved in the granite. Now, this was burned into the atomic structure of the granite at least 10,000 years ago. Who put it there? Nobody knows. Why they put it there? No one knows. And yet, they thought it was important enough to engrave it with a laser or some sort of technology like that. And they say back then they built the pyramids with ropes and, copper and slave labor, which I highly doubt, but do we know for sure? We don't. But we know this. And all we're doing is piecing together things that we know of. Now, this pattern is very simple to do. The easiest way to do it is get a compass and draw one circle, go to the edge of that circle, draw another one, go to the intersection point, draw another one, and you can keep on doing this in the tessellation, and it will go on and on forever in all directions, just like the way that cells will grow in all directions and multiply and go. When you do it 7 times, you get the seed of life. And this is the basic design element of the entire creation with the flower of life and moving forward. And it's interesting because in Genesis, there are 7 days of creation, And in the very beginning of this basic design, there's 7 circles. And you can go, and I did a whole little paper on this, which we don't have time to get into, but it's really interesting how those two things correlate with each other. Now, when you tessellate out to this pattern here, and to 61 circles, you then outline these 13 circles. In sacred geometry, this is called the fruit of life. Now, fruit of life is special because when you connect the center of each circle with a straight line, you get Metatron's cube. Now, if you just look at this for a second and let your eyes unfocus a little bit, you can start seeing a bunch of different shapes. I see triangles, I can see a cube, I can see different kind of hexagons. I can see different shapes, which is interesting. But inside this, now, I just want to pause for a moment. I am going quickly. And if some of this is kind of over your head or whatever, don't worry, it's all going to come, and just let your mind relax and just absorb it, because you can't unhear it. You can't unsee it, and it will just soak in, okay? So at any point, because it is a lot, it really is a lot, and I have to go through all of this for it to build that foundation to understand where these equations and theories are built upon. Now, the 5 shapes that are inside are the 5 platonic solids. Okay, the 5 platonic solids, they look like this in three-dimensional form. You have a octahedron that has 20 sides, octahedron has 8, tetrahedron has 4, and this is the inverse of itself. Hexahedron has 6 sides, and dodecahedron has 12 sides. Now, the criteria to be a platonic solid is that all the faces have to be the same face, and they all have to have the same interior angle. And there's only 5 that exist. Now, they were named after Plato not because he discovered them, but because he used them in his theory of everything. He had a theory that everything in the universe, when you broke it down, its fundamental shape that stacked and put it together was one of these 5 shapes. And he said that the elements, that the tetrahedron was fire, the octahedron was air, the dodecahedron was ether, which is consciousness, the non-physical. The cube is earth, and the icosahedron is water. Now, this is back around 400 BC, long time ago. They didn't have the technology to see that this was, if it was true or not. That's until the 1980s when Dr. Robert J. Moon created the Moon model, and he demonstrated that every element on the periodic table is related to one of the 5 platonic solids. So, Plato at the time figured something out that he couldn't prove. But he deduced that because of, he's a great philosopher, one of the greatest minds that ever existed. But it's truly remarkable. And this is stuff that we don't really talk about or understand, but I'm talking about because I think it's great. So the flower of life, that's a real quick thing with the flower of life to just give you the understanding of why it's sacred geometry, why they call it that, and how do you get the shapes out of that pattern. So I was enthralled with the flower of life. And on a September day in 2011, I printed out a picture. Is this a picture blurry or is this blurry? I got to pick a different picture to focus on. But the idea is that I printed out a blank flower of life and I applied music theory to it. And I don't know how this happened, but I just started writing notes down. I started with A and I said, well, I'll go up a perfect fifth to E. No, I'll put a C here. Then I'll put a C sharp here. I'm like, okay, so my minor and my major triad, and then I did it again, and I started going on both sides, and I found that it started tessellating in all directions musically. And I said, well, how about that? And I spent the next couple months putting it together, and I created a theory I call the flower of music, obviously because it was the flower of life. It's pretty good. And I found this uniform way that all music notes fit together in the exact uniform manner. So all these greens going up are minor thirds. So the sound of the green, the sound of the yellow, the sound of the purple going up, purple going down, and then yellow going down, and then green going down. So those are some sounds that consistently worked in here. So when you were going to try to figure out, so what's good about this is that you could know very little about music theory. and you could become a harmony master and find any harmony in any key, in any mode. This has all 21 keys and 21 modes of Western classical music. Every single piece of music that's ever been written exists inside of here. And each one of these patterns, or these formulas, are used to extract information out of it, so you can be a composer, you can get any harmony you want. I wish I had this in college. Because I got into school based upon my ability to play. And I didn't really know music theory when I did it. I just wanted to have fun, I just wanted to play. When I got to college, I had to learn all of it. And music is very abstract. So it was hard. And so I really worked at it, and it's not an absolute thing. When I finally, I learned it all the hard way, and then I was able to apply it into a pattern which I wish I had back then. Because that was something that is just, at least to check my work. So, the building block of this is this root flower formula. And I can play this again. So this is what, so the lower, I'm going to work this way. I'm going to go from the major third, so major third, then the perfect fifth, then a minor third, then a major sixth, the perfect fourth, then a minor sixth. So these are the sounds that are surrounding this root. And the root is any note. Okay, this is universal. You can put this pattern anywhere on it. And you all have the pamphlets, right? If anybody walked in, everyone gets a free pamphlet and a free t-shirt. Now, in a pamphlet, you can see R can go anywhere on there. And purple up is always going to be a perfect fifth. Purple down is always going to be a perfect fourth. Yellow up is always going to be a major third, and so on. It's going to always be that way, so that you can build these formulas to do wonderful things with music. Okay, I'm going to take one second break here to drink water. Everybody doing okay so far? Because we just started. We really did. Alright, this is where it gets interesting. Because I work with special needs children. I've been doing it for 10 years, and it's great where they can use colors to create sounds, and they create harmonies. It's something that it enabled them to compose music and do music, and I did a lot of the playing, but they were the ones that did all the constructing and the building and the choosing. And there's a whole way. I have a book that talks about how you can create and compose on your own with just so little knowledge about music. It just opens up so many doors. So being a teacher, I keep on looking for more and more new ways to explain this theory. So I started to count the half notes, or the half steps. Now, half steps in music on the piano is literally going up one key. So if you start here, you go up one key, the one half step is the next key up. I'm going up half steps, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I'm going up half steps, alright? Now, the distance between notes creates different harmonies. So if I go up so right here, the number of half steps, and then this is the musical interval that it creates. So if we start with 0, with nothing else, this is just unison. There's no harmony there other than unison. You go up one half note. You have a minor second, which is a dissonant harmony. You go up 2 half steps. You have your major second, it's considered a consonant harmony. You go up 3 half steps. You have your minor third. You go up 4 half steps. It's a major third. You go up 5, perfect fourth. 6 is the augmented fourth. 7 is the perfect fifth. 8 is the minor sixth. 9 is the major sixth. 10 is the minor seventh. 11 is the major seventh. And then 12, you have your octave. It's the same note, one octave higher. Okay? So no matter where you start, if you count up 5 half steps, you're going to get a perfect fourth. I'll pick a random key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the number of half steps that you have between 2 notes creates the type of harmony that you're hearing. And what harmony is the mathematics of how it's frequency. So you have one note that equals one number, and then another note that equals another number, and literally the mathematics of how those two numbers fit together is the type of harmony that you're hearing. So for instance, 2 goes into 4 really easy, and you're going to get something like this. You know, 5 goes into 15 really easy. You hear something like this. Okay? But then if you have something like 2 into 7, 2 into 7 doesn't go in that way. So it has a dissonant harmony. Or 2 into 3, you have something. So literally the mathematics is what you're hearing when you hear music. You're hearing how numbers fit together. You're hearing how vibrations and frequencies fit together. That's why this works. That's why if you count the number of keys, you'll always get that harmony. Alright? So what I then did, I made a graphic here of a keyboard. Okay? Now I'll put here, this is middle C. And really it could be any key, but I'm just picking middle C. Alright? And then I started to count the numbers. And I started going to the right, positive numbers, and I started going to the left, and negative numbers. Okay, you follow? So then I took my root flower formula of building the flower of music that is the key to music harmony, and I replaced them with these numbers. And I started counting the number of half steps. Now, the negative numbers come from the harmonies below the root. Okay, so from the left of middle C and to the right of middle C, and it equals 0. So I said, okay, well, so what? What does that prove? What does that do? Well, I started expanding it, and I found that I would go up in multiples of 7. I went to 7, 14, 21, 28, and then I started going down backwards. -7, -14, -21, -28. I went up by 4s. I went up by 3s, and I went down by 4s, and down by 3s, and then I found, look at this all equals 0. And it goes on for infinitely in all directions. For every number on this side, there's an equal and opposite number on the other side. 17, you go a straight line to 0, bam, -17. It will not intersect any other number until it hits its equal and opposite number on the other side. So I said, okay, so that's what. This is starting to do something interesting. So I had to go over to isometric graph paper, which has the same spatial spacing as the flower of life. So I said, okay, let me start dissecting and figuring out what can I do with this. So this is our fruit of life. I drew the fruit of life onto this pattern, and then I connected each circle with a straight line. Okay. Then I drew out the 5 platonic solids out of at a Metatron's cube. And each one I color-coded because I started to think of this as musical a series of these lines following, because it's following numbers, and it's following multiples, and it's following music harmony. So each one of these colors is a color coding, so I still have the yellow going up by 4s or major thirds. I still have green for my minor thirds. And I have my minor 7ths and major 7ths with the blue and the red. So I thought, okay, neat. But what happened then was I started to look at the numbers and add them up. Now, all of the platonic solids, so look here, 28, 16, or 12, and we're going to have a reduced version, 7, -3, -12, equals 0. Tetrahedron equals 0. Okay, that's pretty cool. Hexahedron, 16, 28, 12, -12, -28, -16. Bam, 0 again. Octahedron, same deal here, equals 0. The icosahedron, again, equals 0. These equations, these musical equations, now remember this, these numbers aren't just arbitrary, they're music harmonies. They're following intervals of a certain pattern, okay? And it's starting to fit right into the ideas of ancient yoga and modern day, that everything is vibrational and that nothing truly exists. It's all by the virtue of vibration. The idea that this floor doesn't exist, or in the way that we understand it, we think that these are solid objects, but they're not. They're vibrations. The reason why I can push down on it and push back is because the vibrations are pushing against each other, just like magnets. We don't actually ever even truly touch something. There's just a field of electrons in between them, which is really interesting. So this is coming to a point where there's a musical equation that's saying, yes, everything truly is nothing, but it's the vibration that brings it into being. Now this is my absolute favorite, the dodecahedron, because it has no equation. It simply is zero. It lands on no grid point. So I can't take numbers and I can't add them up to zero. It just is zero. And the reason why is because the dodecahedron, as Plato said, equals ether consciousness, which is not physical. So for something to be physical, it must have grid points. It must land on something. The dodecahedron is created by the intersecting lines of the other four platonic solids. So if you start thinking about this, if the dodecahedron equals your mind and consciousness, this is how geometrically your mind, thoughts, and emotions exist inside of you and inside your brain without taking any space. And I'm going to show you this because they don't show you on the internet how to do this. I needed to know how to do this. I know it's there, and every time I look, you look at Wikipedia, you look at stuff, they don't have anything on the dodecahedron, how to find it. So, but I knew it was in there because Plato found it, or whatever, it's got to be there. They couldn't just make it up. So I started looking at this, and I had a hard time looking at what line was what line. Where did it start from? Where did it end? And I color-coded it. Now, these are not harmonies. I just needed to see what line was doing what. So then I started looking here, and I got a protractor out, and I was looking for 105-degree angles for a pentagon. And I finally found the pentagon in here, and I'm like, okay, here we go. There's a pentagon in there. Now, how does this become a dodecahedron? And this is 3 years ago. This is actually my grandfather's birthday. But I started to find this dodecahedron, and then finally, there it was. So the dodecahedron is created by the intersecting lines. It's non-physical, has no grid points. And it makes perfect sense. So at this point, my mind has started going like, okay, I really got something here. It's all equals zero. It's all musical. It has to do with all the different atoms and all the different periodic elements. I got to keep going with this. And I didn't stop. I drew out a bigger pattern. I kept on going. Because again, this is an infinite tessellation that goes on forever. And so I drew out, the 54, negative 54, and I started seeing this orange line is going up by going this way by ones and going that by negative ones. Okay? Then I have my 3's going up forever, and my negative 3's going down forever. I have my 4's going up, my negative 4's going down. I have my 7's going up, 7's going down. My 10's going up, going down. And my 11's going up and going down. So then I said, okay, but wait a second. Look at this. The zero starts repeating itself. So I drew a zero line. And the zero line is the perfect line of symmetry between all the positive integers and all the negative integers. So then I was thinking, well, you know what? This is probably the reason behind symmetry in nature. The symmetry of a butterfly. The symmetry of our bodies. We have a left arm and a right arm. There's a right wing and a left wing. And you can see here, it's not perfectly symmetrical. There's some different variations. But it's following a certain pattern. And there's certain deviations within that pattern. But the symmetry in life, I believe, is this zero line. And it all equals zero. Every single number up here equals zero. It cancels itself out into nothing. So I drew, this is a bigger drawing of it. Let's see if I can focus this a little better. And I have all my numbers and lines in there, and it looks kind of confusing. But what I found was, when you wrap it around itself and line up the zero line, not only do the lines match up, the numbers don't skip a beat. You can see here, it's going up 21, 24, 27. There is the line on the paper, bam, 30, 33. Over here, 40, 44, up 48. So not only do the lines match up, the numbers match up. And they form helixes going up and down in all directions for infinity. And when you start thinking about helixes, first thing that comes to mind is DNA. How does this DNA work? Now, I have to mention here, Dr. Susumu Ono is a Japanese-American geneticist, evolutionary biologist, and seminal research in the field of microevolution. He was the guy who coined the term junk DNA because he didn't know what it was. And he regretted calling it that, but it stuck. And he also created musical compositions based off DNA structure. And it's one of the memoirs, there's a quote here. In searching the rapidly increasing number of sequences that were becoming available, Ono saw many recurring motifs. and thought it would be interesting to assign those to nucleotides. Converting the sequences into musical passages, this made it possible to appreciate the repeating nature of motifs in a DNA sequence in a much more pleasant fashion than scanning the monotonous repeating letters of the sequences. His ultimate purpose, to find some basic pattern that governs all life. And that's what I think that I'm coming across and unearthing, is this basic pattern that is governing all life. Is these 7 simple numbers that equal 0. Everything equals 0. And it's all musical, and it's been composed, whether it's a god or not a god, whatever. The thing is that there's no way that this is, it's more probable that a tornado will go through a junkyard and assemble a 747 than it is for your proteins to create hemoglobin the way it is. So, all right, now we have to take another little break here for water, because now we're in the meat of it. Now we're there. Yeah, I don't think that any of this is an accident. I don't think that life is not an accident. There's just no way. And and that's where I got into the idea that I thought that God, or the creative force of the universe, was a musician, because I'm looking at all these different structures and these equations and musical equations that I thought he composed it into it. But everyone has their own preconceived notion of what they think God is, and a lot of times people have not had good experiences with either religions or churches and stuff like that. And I wanted to get away from that, because this is so much more than the ideology of what people believe or think. This is something that is purely spiritual and science and mathematical and musical. So I'm looking at this first slide, here as we're coming off from our break there. Now take a deep breath, because this gets deeper here. This is my newest research. This is something that I never presented before. Okay? Now, this right now is not my research. I mean, I'm showing you that all numbers can reduce down to a single digit. No matter how big the number is, it equals one number. And some of the examples, 12 reduces to 3, because 1 plus 2 equals 3. 27 is reduced to 9, because 2 plus 7 equals 9. 285 is reduced to 6, because 2 plus 5 plus 8 equals 15. 1 plus 5 equals 6. Okay? That's just straight up, got to understand that before we go any further. So here's the blown up part of my pattern here, and I have all the lines going through and everything. But all these numbers, they go up, and they'll turn into 3-digit numbers, 4-digit numbers on for infinity. So what I did was I reduced all of them down to single digits. And so now they're all the single digits, and the 7's there, the 14 became 5, and the 21 became a 3, and the 28 became a 1, because 2 plus 8 equals 10, 1 plus 0 equals 1. Follow me there, right? Then the first thing I found was, inside this pattern were all the 81 Lo-Shu tones from ancient Chinese medicine and ancient Chinese healing. So inside there are all these different tones, and a lot of them, there's the Ancient Solfeggio tones. There are all the different tones that are used by different sound healers exist inside the 81 Lo-Shu tones. And they're all, I circled them all. I mean, it's kind of sloppy, because that's my original drawing of what it was for me to find this and see this. But then I hit a roadblock. I'm like, all right, well, now what do I do? So I sat on it, and I didn't present it because I didn't know how to explain it. And really, I ended more or less with the helix of the tubes, and I had stopped there. But then I started researching Marco Rodin. Marco Rodin is a researcher and scientist who's trying to find free energy, and trying to create free energy. And he has this mathematics of a torus. Our energy fields are toruses. If you look at the fruit, the way the fruit forms is a torus. The universe and our auras are toruses. So he started wrapping coils in his mathematical formulas. And the Rodin torus coil tested at Hewlett-Packard was determined to be creating 62.5 greater magnetic outputs in the present day standard wound electrical coils, which is significant. It's not 2%, 3%, it's over half more. Now, the math behind this that he created this, the way he came up with these numbers was through studying the Arabic language. He started looking up the Arabic language and started putting numerals to these things, and he started coming up with these different numbers. Now, he came up with this mathematical fingerprint of God, which he called. Now, this pattern here, although it looks different than what I have, is exactly the same. And I'm going to show you how. And I came to these numbers through music, the musical language. He found it through the Arabic language, which is very interesting. Basics of vortex mathematics. Okay, he called it the vortex mathematics of the torus. Okay, and we just went over this, and it's the reducing numbers down to single digits. Then there's a doubling pattern. So double 1 is 2, double 2 is 4, double 4 is 8, double 8 is 16, but reduce it down to 7. Double 16 is 32, reduce it down to 5. Double 32 is 64, reduces down to 1, because it produces 6 plus 4 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. Double 64 is 128, reduces down to 2. 1 plus 2 plus 8 is 11, 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, so this doubling pattern goes on forever, and it goes in the other way too, but what happens is it creates this numeric, this pattern, this doubling, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, and it will continue on forever, and ever as you double them. And also it works the same way if you're subtracting, or you're dividing numbers in half. That's a very interesting number and pattern of doubling. Then there's a multiplication pattern. This is something that's you'll have to wrap your head around a little bit. The easiest way is you think 1 times 2 equals 2, 1 times 3 equals 3. The spaces is what you're timesing it by. So the fourth space, 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10, which will equal 1. And then 2 times 6 is 12, which will equal 3. And each number has its own multiplication pattern that will keep going on forever. So after this 9, it will start with a 2 again. 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7. With the 7s, it'll be 7, 5, 3, 1, 8, 6, 4, 2, 9, and continue in both directions. So this is the mathematics of it. If you don't get it, it's okay. But the point is that these patterns do exist inside doubling or multiplication. This is the basic patterns. These are our multiplication patterns, our doubling pattern, and the numbers 3, 6, and 9. Okay? So it's a multiplication pattern, everything down to a single digit. Now I look at this pattern. My musical pattern is all of these things. 7, 5, 3, 1, 8, 6, 4, 2. All of these numbers that we're looking at multiplication patterns are now inside my flower of music, which I created into this tessellation of a digital root. They all exist. And all these multiplications are now expressed through the musical intervals. Times 1 is a minor second or a minor 7. Times 2 is a major second or a minor 7. The times 3 is a minor third or an octave. And I sat there and looked at all this stuff, and I worked it out, and double-checked it, and it just would work every single time. So I said, okay, that's pretty neat. This guy who studied Arabic language and is trying to look for free energy and the energy of a torus, found it from Arabic language. I found these exact same numbers. And I sat on them for 3 years, and I had no idea what they meant. I had no idea what to do with them until I started reading this guy's book. And I looked at this pattern, and I said, oh my God, look at that. And then I sat there, and I remember just keep on saying, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I didn't know what it meant. And that's the most exciting feeling in the world, when you have something that you know fits, but you don't know how. And you just keep on looking, and you keep on looking. So then I found this, I put in the drawing pattern. And this drawing shows how the doubling pattern of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1 weaves through this pattern, weaves itself through this pattern. It's kind of hard to see. I wish I could make it bigger, but the way it goes is 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 5, 1. This pattern goes and is stitching itself in a pattern. And when it goes through the 0 line, it inverses itself. So if you see here, like this half of the star is 8, 4, and 2. Well, the half of the star here now is 7, 5, and 1. So then the little triangle part here was 7, 5, 1. Now that's -2, 2, -4, -8. It inverses itself in a perfect symmetry through the zero line. There's no way I could make this up. This was just coming, and it just happened. Then I saw that, and this is the same expression. I'm drawing different lines, but these are the same numbers. The same numbers. And in this here, this blue line here is a family group of 1, 4, and 7. And it goes on 1, 4, 7, 1, 4, 7, 1, 4, 7. The orange line is 2, 5, and 8. 2, 5, 8, 2, 5, 8, 2, 5, 8, over and over. And the green line is 3, 6, and 9. 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. Okay? That, when I started looking at that, I'm like, how interesting is that? All of these patterns exist inside of this perfectly organized system of numbers. When it goes through the zero line, the 1, 4s, and 7 turns into -2, 5s, and 8s. The 2, 5s, and 8s turn into -1, 4, 7s. The 3, 6, and 9 simply turn into -3, 6s, and 9s. And the one other thing I wanted to point back here was this line of the stitching is never running parallel to these 3, 6s, and 9s. And what I think is happening it's going back and forth, going negative to positive. And I think the 3, 6, and 9 is the polarity of the stitching going through. Never runs parallel to it, and it bounces back and forth each time, which I think would exist as the negative to positive. So this next part, I started adding up the numbers around each number, okay? And when I added up, let's just say the number 9, so it was 4, 7, 3, 5, 2, and 6. I added them up, equals 27, equals 9. Then I took the 8, or the 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, and 4, and then that equals 21 equals 3. The 7, 2, 5, 1, 3, 9, 4 equals 6. The 6, 1, 4, 9, 3, 8, 2 equals 9. So I did this for all the numbers, and I started getting this pattern. 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6. So then I rewrote the pattern again. Again, this is all the same thing to a new expression. And the whole flower of music, that pamphlet that you're holding, all the other things that we looked at, all those helixes, all of it can be reduced and expressed to simply 3s, 6s, and 9s. The 3s, once they pass the zero line, turn into -6s. The 3s going through the zero line turn into -6s. The 9s simply turn into -9s. Tesla said, if you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and the 9s, then you would have a key to the universe. And that's where I'm drawing this all together, where I believe that this is a huge part of uncovering the nature of life, the nature of sound, the nature of everything, into something so simple of a simple equation of this. This equation that equals 0. I can relate that now to music harmony. I can relate that to Plato and the platonic solids and atomic structure. And I can put it straight into the vortex mathematics and the torus and the idea behind Tesla's of 3, 6, and the 8s and the free energy. And it all started with just this flower music and my love for music. And love for trying to find the truth within this world. You know, that's the one thing that I hated more than anything in life was being lied to. And for a long time, I knew I was being lied to. You know, there's certain things that you find out, it's like, that's not the way it happened, but that's the official story. And if that's not the way that happened, but this is the way that it was told. And my biggest thing was, when I was born and raised a Roman Catholic, and I was a terror in Sunday school because I always asked why. Why? And I never got a right answer. But I was, more or less good. I said, okay, all right, I backed off. But I still always in my head, I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't quite make sense to me. It doesn't quite make sense. And that's where that passion of wanting to find more things and more understanding of why I'm here. Why is anybody here? What's the point? And the point is, I think, is the expanding of the universe of our conscious minds and our hearts. And it's this experience of life. So you guys made it through that. I have no more math for you guys. There's no more numbers. At this point, we're going to start chilling out, okay? But that was it. And it was the first time that this confuses me. How am I going to present it and say it? You know, but if you sit there for long enough with these numbers and you look at it and you double check, you're like, all right, this is it. It works. I know it works. You know, because you know how many times I went over and even with the music stuff, the fire music, I had my buddy Pete just look at it, keep looking at it. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because I thought it was too good to be true. Like, but it is. It all works. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to start getting into some music and some relaxing and some meditating. And you know, I just want to introduce, like, we're talking about a little bit about our chakras and our energy systems. And you know, if we look at ourselves, you know, we're an organic being, right? We're made up of the earth. We're sacks of water. We are, you know, we're electrical at the same time. And we think about on a computer, there's a circuit board, and there's a way that energy flows. And it's the same thing here. We are human computers. Our brain is the best computer, the most high-powered computer. There's no way, like, technology keeps getting better and better, but there's still nowhere near the human brain. There's nowhere near the technology of our nervous system. And energy flows the same way. You know, you can kind of see this torus here, the auric energy field. And that our bodies have these different energy passages. And that we have to work on keeping them clear so energy can flow freely, and that it keeps our body and system in check, and in balance, and in harmony. And the frequencies that I'm going to use are the Ancient Solfeggio Frequencies. And here are some examples from Dr. Emoto. Not only did he do them with emotions, he did them with frequencies. And this is our 396, 417, 528, 639, 741, 852, and they all make such beautiful geometric shapes. So as we go through this meditation and the different frequencies, you can imagine to see the different structures and shapes of these sounds and frequencies going through your body. These are some of the what the beneficiaries of each frequency has. And as we do this, I'm going to leave this slide up, and I want you to visualize yourselves being a rainbow, being a being of light in its most pure form. Because that's truly what we are, is light. So just give me a moment to get set, and then we'll start our meditation. Now what I'm going to do is I have these tones recorded on my phone of the tuning forks. And they're sine waves. The tuning fork creates a sine wave which is very well-rounded frequency. And what I did was I manipulate this keyboard to play in the keys of the different frequencies. Because normally in music, everything is tuned to the standard tuning of 440 hertz. And what I do on this keyboard is I change the master tuning of A, so certain notes on the piano equal the key I'm playing in. For instance, for example, for 396 hertz, I tune A 19 cents sharp, so G equals 396 hertz. And I do that. So as I go through this, there'll be some times when music stops, and you'll hear a tone change, and then I go through it. And that's what that is. Let me just make sure the Bluetooth is still connected. Good. your back and relaxed. Place your hands comfortably on your lap and have both feet flat on the ground. As you settle in, feel free to move around and adjust yourself to find the right position you feel most comfortable. Now, if you haven't already, begin to gently close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose and fill your lungs to about 85%. Now hold it. Now gently and slowly exhale through your mouth. Now breathe in again through your nose. Hold it. And gently and slowly exhale through your mouth. One more time. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it. And gently exhale. Now imagine a beautiful white golden light floating above your head. Now this light is going to pour all over your body, starting at the top of your head. It feels cooling and refreshing. And imagine it flowing over and into your body, cooling and relaxing all stress and anxiety with pure white light. Imagine it completely covering your body inside and out. Now invite the color red to your root chakra, right at the base of your spine. Visualize the most beautiful shade of red, like that of red roses and ripe cherries, covering and emanating through your root chakra. And breathe deeply, feeling grounded in the here and now, saying in your mind, I am here. I belong here. Mother Nature provides my sustenance. right below your navel. Visualize breathtaking orange of the setting sun and breathe deeply, letting this color to cover and emanate from your navel. This is the center of your emotional intelligence, creativity, and pleasure. Now say in your mind, I allow myself to be nourished. I allow my needs to be met. Now invite the color yellow to your solar plexus, which is right below your sternum. Visualize the lovely yellow that is seen in a field of sunflowers, glistening in the sunlight. Breathe deeply, letting this color yellow to cover and emanate from your solar plexus. This is the center of your personal power and drive. Now say in your mind, I love myself. I am enough. I have the power to create anything in my life. Now invite the color green to your heart chakra, which is in the center of your chest. Visualize the color green of an early summer's meadow, teeming with life. Breathe deeply, letting this color green to cover and emanate from your heart chakra. This is the center of your personal development, unconditional love, and all relationships. Now say in your mind, my love is unconditional. I allow myself to be loved. I have indigo to your brow chakra, which is right above and between your eyes, also known as your third eye. Visualize the color indigo of the twilight sky after the sun is setting, but right before the night has fully taken over. Breathe deeply, letting this color of indigo to cover and emanate from your third eye. This is the center of your intuition and connection with the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Now say in your mind, I nurture to and listen to and trust my intuition. My brain works in perfect harmony. Now invite the color purple to your crown chakra at the top of your head. Visualize the color purple of a stunning field of lavender. Breathe deeply, letting this color purple to emanate from your crown chakra. This is your connection to infinite wisdom, the divine, and the spirit of God's inside. Now say in your mind, I am connected to the universe in every way. The Spirit of God is within me. Now hold the intention of your chakras closing down just a little. Become aware of how you feel and the peace that resonates inside of you. Hold yourself with loving kindness for the beautiful, unique being that you are. We will now close this meditation with a grounding and healing prayer. and every level, layer, and area and aspect of my being to this origin. Analyze it and resolve it perfectly with God's truth. Come through all generations of time and eternity, healing every incident and its appendages based on the origin. Please do it accordingly to God's will until I am at the presence, filled with light and truth. God's peace and love, forgiveness of myself for my incorrect perceptions, forgiveness of every person, place, circumstances, and events which contributed to these feelings and thoughts. You are loved, and you are never alone. Slowly come out